So today we're going to have Tommy Murchison on with the Arkansas Big Buck Classic. And what's so crazy about it, he's going to get into the story about how it all began. You know it as a giant event that you can go to in Arkansas that is just like nothing else. And how it got started was just purely, don't want to say accidental, but it's crazy how it started. He's going to tell us the ups and downs, the trials he's ran into, how they almost got shut down once. I mean, it's insane. And this is an event that you definitely need to check out, and he's going to tell us all about it. So y'all enjoy. So Tommy, I know we had to reschedule, when we were supposed to do the podcast.
Yep.
Thank you for being able to work with us. We had some stuff come up.
That's not a problem at all. If anybody's got anything, no stuff happens. So you
always
just gotta roll with it.
More stuff happening. It's like at least you're doing something.
That's right. Yeah.
So
that's not a problem.
let's get right into this. So tell me a little bit about yourself and the Big Buck Classic and how you got into it and really what you do for the organization.
Well, I'm originally from Coy, Arkansas. About 183 people. It's a farm community.
Big town.
Big town.
Big town.
Born and raised there. We family farmed, and of course, all of me and my buddies, we grew up hunting just like y'all do. And so I had a little idle time on my hands, and it was right around the time that the bass tournament started getting really big.
And what years were these?
This would have been 88 or so. And so I had gotten a divorce, and so had a lot of time just sitting around, thinking about different stuff. And so the Bassmasters Classic, like I said, it had gotten, to be a really big deal. So for whatever reason, I just started thinking, why isn't somebody doing this with deer?
Yeah.
And so I just writing down stuff, didn't really mean anything. I'm just writing down, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. I wrote it down in a notebook, thought about it, threw the notebook over to the side.
Oh, yeah, put it on the back burner?
Put it on the back burner. And a year later, I started dating Katherine, who, I'm married to now. And she was a marketing major at Henderson University.
It's a line.
There you go.
And so anyway, she was going to school in Arkadelphia, and so she needed a notebook one day or something. She had forgotten her notebook. So that's where she taking. So she comes back home. She goes, "What's this stuff written down here about this deer contest?" I said, "Oh, it's just something I was kind of thinking about a little bit." And she goes, "Well, why aren't you doing it?" I said, "Oh, I'm farming. I don't have time, but it's, probably wouldn't work anyway." And she said, "Well, I need a marketing project for my major."
Wow.
And she said, "So, can I use it?" I said, "Well, I wouldn't talk about that. You got to remember, we're still dating."
Yeah. Right. Well, hang on.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
I need you to start the dotted line.
That's right.
Slow down.
So, anyway, so I said, "Yeah, we could probably do that." She said, "Well, the deal is for it to be, something that they'll accept, you have to do it. You can't just to be an idea and say, this is a good idea and give me a grade. You actually have to do the project. You have a year to do it."
Yeah.
So I thought about it, and I said, "Well, let's roll with it." So that's the way we got started with it. And of course, it was originally not the same platform that we have now.
Right.
Originally it was pay to play.
Yeah.
We had this great idea. It's going to be retirement money. You $10 to enter. We were going to give away $10,000 to the total prize money, $7,500 to the winner, $1,500 second, $500 third, and that's the way we did it. So, in my mind, there was 330,000 deer hunters.
Yeah.
If I just get 10% of those at $10,
you're playing the big
we're
numbers.
going to do good.
Yeah.
No, it didn't quite work out that way.
It usually does. It usually does.
But anyway, that's the way it started. And so you would pay $10. We would send you a Big Buck Classic cap, and I was so particular, I didn't want to get a cap in the mail that was all crushed up, so we were putting them in boxes, taping them up. Anyway, I think we had 600 or 700 people, enter the first year.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can kind of do the math on that.
You're like, okay.
Working out real good.
You're like, hey,
This is something now.
This could be something.
But we followed through. We had our first winner. We had a little award ceremony in Jacksonville. Fin, Feather, and Fur Taxidermy, and there was an archery shop right next to him. And we had our award ceremony there. I think we had probably 100 people show up other than the 30 deer that showed up. We bought Domino's pizza for everybody. I mean, we thought we really done something, you know. But, but the numbers didn't look too good. But anyway, so, you know, she's like, well, what are we going to do now? I said, well, we can't quit now. So we upped the ante the next year to $20,000 prize money. We actually were successful. Budweiser came on board and gave us a little seed money to help us out a little bit. And we had I think 1,200 people signed up the next year.
Oh, yeah.
So it's getting a little better. And the Kathy's teacher or professor, she didn't like the project. I think she thought it was probably, you know, a little bit too redneck for her.
So what was the grade? I want to know the grade.
F.
Got an F on the Big Buck Classic.
She got an F.
Imagine being that professor right now and knowing you gave an F.
Oh, yeah.
For something that's now legendary.
rolling forward, I think maybe it was 10 years later or so. I don't remember the exact date. But after, you know, the thing got to be real successful, they ended up inducting her into the Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame down at Henderson.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah,
full circle. Yeah. You know, but that's the way it started. I mean, we obviously transitioned away from the pay to play. I can get into that if you want to, how all that happened. But anyway, that's how it started. I mean, and I don't know if she hadn't found my notebook and decided
divine intervention,
make me do it if I would ever done it. But that's the way it started.
Yeah.
I want to take a second here and thank the sponsor, Havoc Boat. If you haven't checked out the gear shop, there's tons of new merchandise on there: hats, shirts, keychains, stickers, boat accessories, anything you can think of. There's fishing baits and lures. There's all kinds of stuff on the Havoc Boats gear shop. So also, if you have not already liked and subscribed and hit the bell for notifications, do this now. If there's something you want to see, drop it down in the comments. If you want me and Daryl and Dad to discuss anything whatsoever, just let us know. We'll be happy to cover it. But other than that, I think we ought to get right back into it. It's funny when you just jot stuff down like that.
That's
it's
right.
in your mind. You never know what the one thing could be that might bring it to life.
Well, you know, you need to follow through on your dreams, and some of them are going to work and some of them don't. But this one's, like I said, it's we've been real fortunate.
So at the time, you, like you said, you was farming, you know, you was working, you know, you was busy
That's right.
working man. At what point did it get to where you were like, okay, I need to maybe stop doing some of the other stuff and start focusing on this?
Well, to be honest with you, we still farm. But what we had to do was we were right on the cutting edge of, there wasn't really anybody doing it. You know?
Yeah.
There was some other people that I weren't aware of that were doing sports shows, but the sports shows hadn't gotten real big then either.
Right.
So we had someone tell us that we should go out to North Carolina. They had a pretty nice show out there. And so we went out there. They were doing a little bit of deer scoring, and we ended up running into Dave Boland, who is well-renowned, world-renowned, Boone and Crockett score.
Yeah.
And we got talking to him, and he was kind of talking about it. He said, I think y'all are onto something. And ended up, while we were out there, we ran into Dick Idle. And so we were still all revved up. So we decided that we wanted to try to start having a little show around it. So we went to Rick's Armory the next year. It was still pay to play. And we had a deer display that we brought in, and we kind of, advertised it up. Well, we ended up having 4,000 or 5,000 people come. I think we had 8 people, 8 vendors.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And we'd actually closed it in because we thought it was not going to look right. We were going to have not a big enough crowd. We wanted to look crowded.
Yeah.
So it was successful there. The next year, we stayed at Rick's Armory. We took the curtains down. I think we had 20 booths.
Well, it's growing steadily. Every year you're doing this.
It's pacing, and we're like, wow, this is going pretty good. So the third year, if I get talking too much, just tell me.
Oh, we love to hear it.
I'd say that was the 4th year. So we had to find a bigger place.
Right.
And so we there was a facility out off of Geyer Spring. Crystal Hill. It's called North Oaks. It was 15,000 square foot building, and so we start telling the guy what we're doing, and he was a really funny guy, and I still know him today, and he laughs every time we see him about this. So we tell him we're going to have this deer show, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's going to be so cool." Man, this guy's kidding it, you know. I mean,
Yeah, it's gonna be big.
So Dick Idle's going to come to the show. We had a live deer display. We had all kinds of stuff that we were going, and we wanted to control selling the beer. And he said, "No, you know, I always sell the beer, and so I'm making these deals and all this stuff and the rent." So we look at the forecast, and it's supposed to be like torrential rain. And he's got a baseball field out there that he doesn't have roped off. So I'm telling him, you know, you need to rope this field off, because I said, man, my guys that are going to come to this show, they're going to come in here in these 4-wheel drives, and that ditch not going to mean anything to them. They're going to cross that ditch. They're going to go out
They're going to be in that field.
They're going to be in the field. And so he's still just kind of blowing it off. And so I had to go pick Dick Idle up at the airport. And so I told the guy that helped us from the start, Dave Corley at On Fin Feather for Taxidermy, I said, you need to kind of get him to the side and maybe whip him up shape a little bit, because I'm telling you, he's still got Christmas trees hanging off the ceiling and all this. So Dave tells him, he said, I don't think you understand what's getting ready to go on here. He said, there's going to be about 12 to 15,000 people that are going to be here, and you're not ready. And he said, oh, I know everybody always says they're going to have a lot of people. He said, but we'll be ready. And he said, how much food you got? And he tells him enough to feed about 200 people. He says, man, I'm just telling you right now. He says, it's not Christmas anymore. You need to get those Christmas trees down. You need to get the baseball field roped off. He said,
It's going to be a major event.
It's going to be a big deal. He didn't listen. And it started raining that morning. It's raining. I mean, I can't tell you. And those people started coming from, I mean, a lot more people than we were expecting.
Oh, yeah.
And we walk outside, and they're crossing the ditch, and they're going across that baseball field.
You can't help a redneck. Rednecks don't do it.
Mud going everywhere. I mean, we had a barn burner. I mean, everything went great. And so we go back to pay him. And I had made a deal with him if he sold so much beer that he had to give the Game and Fish Foundation a donation.
Right.
For everything over so many kegs that he sold. Well, it ended up he was going to owe me money. Based on the fact that he had to.
Yeah.
So I go in there, and he's got his head down on the desk. I mean, if you knew this guy, you could appreciate it. And he's like, just stop right there. He said, you can't have this here ever again.
Well, he downplayed the whole event the whole time.
He said, they've torn my baseball field up. The homeowners associations owe me. I mean, but anyway, so that was the first year when Dick was there that he sat me down and he said, you need to take off the pay to play. He said, these people love this. Just let them do what they naturally do and build your show around it. You already got it going. And that's what we did. And then the next year is when we went out. I don't know if you remember it or not, but they had the expo center out on the freeway where Pulaski Tech is now.
Yeah.
That's where we went. And we stayed there for 10 years until they sold to Pulaski Tech, and then we've been at the fairground ever since.
Man,
That's awesome.
It's massive. I mean, it's funny that it started the way it did, you know, just in a notebook, and now it's now if you see what it is now, it's just completely different.
Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate. I mean, you know, the show grew probably a little faster than we could handle it, but not so much that we didn't have like a disaster, you know, that we couldn't overcome.
Yeah.
We almost did when we moved to the expo center, because we had gone from 1,500 square feet to 3,000 square feet, 15,000 square feet. Well, when we went to the expo center, it was 135,000 square feet.
So a huge jump.
It was a big jump. And we were real nervous about it, because I didn't know that we could successfully sell that building full of vendors. Right. And I have to give Kathy credit. I mean, her and I and Chad that's worked for me for a long time. I mean, I can't tell you how many cold calls we made, but we got that building full. And I doubled my advertising budget. And I got to tell y'all guys, I mean, and I'm not very smart now, but I was real green to marketing. You know, I mean,
You're fresh.
but then I was protected in the sense there was no social media. It wasn't as fragmented as it is now. I'm sure
Yeah.
y'all
Oh,
witnessed that. I
absolutely.
mean, how do you, you know, where's the spray and pray? You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't believe anything I see on the internet.
yeah. But, you know, then it was network television. I mean, you had 4, 7, 11. I don't even think 16 was on then. You had Kissin', Magic 105, and B98.5, and the Democrat Gazette. So, I mean, you basically had the market covered right there. I mean, you didn't have to really figure it out. You just had to figure out how much money you wanted to spend.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So we doubled our budget, and we're hoping for the best. We filled the building up. And guys, I cannot tell you how bad behind the power curve we were. There was people coming from everywhere. They were lined up on the access road. The parking lot's completely out of control. I didn't have enough parking, and the fire marshal showed up.
Oh yeah.
And
Was he trying to shut it down?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm just
That's the worst.
Imagine that.
I'm just dumb farmer, you know, from Corey, Arkansas, and I'm sitting in here, man. Y'all just keep bringing it on.
Come on, we'll be all right.
And I was told by the girl that was up at the front door. She said the fire marshal's here, and I'm okay, you know.
Let him in.
Come on
Give him some beer.
So he comes in, and I told him, I said, well, have him meet me at the center of the building. That building, you know, was an old outlet mall. And so we had a big stage right there in the middle. And I met him, and I'm telling you, he lit me up.
Hey, he was.
I can only imagine.
And Mr. Murchison, are you in charge of this fiasco? That's what he said.
Yeah.
I said, yes, sir. He goes, how many people's in this building? I don't know.
I can tell you that if I wanted to.
A couple thousand, you know.
How many's allowed? Was the first question.
He said, there's more than that in line, and I'm shutting this place down. I said, oh, don't do that, you know. And he said, no, you're done. He said, you're done. I said, well, come on, you know, let's go to the office talk. So he's lighting me up. So we get in there, and he's like, how many exit doors do you have? And I was kind of stupid to that, too. I mean, we're just renting the building, you know.
You don't know what you don't know.
I said, I think 6. He said, no, you've actually got more than that because you get credit for, you know, the bifold doors or whatever. And he said, I think you got 18. And he said, do you know what code is? I said, I don't have a clue. He said, well, you're way out. I said, well, this building has got stock doors all the way around every room.
Yeah.
And I said, can't we use those? He said, no, you can't use those. He said, they don't have the breakaway, you know, exit doors on them, and you don't have the signs up.
He's don't look at you.
Oh, yeah. I said, come on, man. I said, just give me a break. I'm not being, you know, flagrant about this. I just don't know, you know. And he said, yeah, but you don't want to get people hurt. And so I said, well, let's just walk around the building. So I'm thinking it's fixing to maybe work out. First doors we go to got a bar through them with a padlock.
Oh.
I'm like, man. He said, oh,
this doesn't look good, but it's going to get better.
Yeah, he's like, oh, so we're going to lock them in and burn them up. I said, man, I'm sorry. I just rent this building. I'll get them undone.
Golly, that's bad luck there.
We keep going around with every door with the same way. And he started settling down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think he saw that I wasn't just, not that I didn't care. I just, you know, wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, maybe you didn't know, not that you just did not think about it.
So I still didn't know what I was going to do, and we were still letting people in.
Well, of course.
Don't stop him now.
Yeah.
So we get to the office, and he says, I tell you what, I don't think you are a bad guy, and I don't think you're uncaring. He said, but that's not changing my outlook on things. He said, so I want 3,000 people out of this building right now, and nobody else can come in, and then you're going to have to get some clickers up there to start counting people out and counting people in. I said, so we got to have 3,000 out. He said, yep. Okay. I said, well, let's go up here to the stage. I said, and we'll put it on, you know, put the audio on all the rooms, you know, all speakers. And I said, and I'm going to let you pick them.
Absolutely.
And he said, "The hell you are." I said, "Yes, sir. That's the way it's got to be."
It's gotta be that way.
I said, "That's the way it's got to be." And I said, "Don't be any disrespect, but I'm not picking them."
Yeah, I'm not doing
I'm not
that.
gonna be like
He
you gotta
said,
go.
"That's not going to work, is it?" I said, "No, sir, it's not going to work." And he said, "I tell you what, follow me to my car." And we go to the car.
Are they-
sorry
are they-
just to be so long. But
Oh my
this is,
gosh.
this is kind of.
Are they still letting people in at this point? Still?
Oh yeah.
They're still letting them in.
They're still coming.
They're passing out beer so fast. They're serving so fast.
We get out to his car and he's kind of grins and snickers, and I mean it's chaos out there. I mean every fire lane's blocked. And he said, "I tell you what," he said, "if you'll go to the store, get some temporary exit signs put up, get those doors unlocked." He said, "I'm just going to turn my head and I'm going to hope for the best." He said, "I'm really not worried about this building catching on fire." He said, "Let me tell you what I'm worried about, and I want you to think about this." He said, "It took me 11 minutes to get from the access road to the front door, and that was with my lights on and the siren blaring." And he said, "What I'm concerned about is if you have a medical event in here."
Yeah.
And he said, "If it takes that long for an ambulance to get up there and get to someone that's having a heart attack or something," he said, "that's the difference between somebody, being okay and somebody dying." And he said, "You need to keep that in mind." He said, "You got to get all this stuff where people the vehicles can get there."
Maneuver in and out,
I said, "Yes, sir, I understand." So we fixed it a little better on Sunday. And the next year, after that, we got the fire lanes open and we had some different stuff going on. And I called him to come out and make sure it looked okay. And that year at 2:00, I'm standing by the chili cook-off back there in the back. And this guy falls out I'm talking about I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
And we called 911 and the ambulance got up there and they got right there to him. Well, ended up, his sugar had messed up and he had just passed
Just
out.
passed down, collapsed.
But, that was a real learning experience.
Yeah.
We have a real big event we're putting on now. This isn't just some
Yeah.
crawdad festival,
Yeah.
that we're having.
This ain't
down the farm.
tailgate. This ain't
There's
tailgate
There's
party.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I had to grow up, and anyway.
Ooh, y'all got rattlesnakes too.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
But anyway, I'm sorry that got long-winded.
No,
there,
that's
but
interesting because it
that's
makes me
where-
think.
That's where we started growing,
Yeah.
big time.
And then at that point, it's like, okay, this is legit. We got to follow all the safety rules.
Yeah, everything's a business.
We got to
now.
hire somebody just to make sure that we're going to be safe enough.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
right.
And it takes that at that time. That's when the outdoor industry kind of started just expanding and blowing up.
Yes.
With events and things like that,
Yep.
where you start bringing merchandise, people that are selling this,
That's right.
this together in one place, and it just started blowing the whole sport up.
It did. I mean, we were, like I said, we were at the right time at the right place, and we just had people that took care of us. I mean, just like I said, the fire marshal. I mean, had I reacted differently, I mean, that could have really gone.
He could have
really
shut you down.
bad.
I mean, he
Yeah.
could have shut you down.
But what he did do was he gave me a lesson in what if. You're not just like you said, putting
Yeah.
on a little tailgate party here. I mean, things happen and you're
Yeah.
not prepared.
Right.
And we weren't. So, I mean, they showed a picture of the rattlesnakes. I mean, things have changed. I mean, we've all lived through it, but we used to walk through the crowd with those rattlesnakes, and
I'll be
carry them on
honest with you.
stage.
That's the
It's just crazy.
I've been to several of these Big Buck Classic events, and they're an absolute blast. If you guys have not been to one, you have got to go to the next one. And one thing that blew my mind was this big giant pen in the middle filled with rattlesnakes with guys just walking around in there. I'm like, oh no.
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 Girls out on any kind of snake, spider.
Yep, it's
I'm
the real
out.
deal too. We've had a couple of the handlers, that have gotten bit, and it gets real pretty quick.
I mean, ugh.
I don't know who would even want to do it.
Do you pay them guys? Like, are they
Yeah.
a different?
No, we pay them to come in, and
That's got to be expensive
those guys
to have that there.
They are just true Texas cowboys, man. I mean, they are just what you see is what you get right there. It's just amazing. I mean, what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, and the snakes seem pretty calm. I mean,
They, I guess.
is it because they're piled in there? You think? Like, what about them makes them? where they're
Well,
not just
I will say
tear 'em
this:
up?
when they first get them there, they're they're a lot more active than they are
Right.
once they've messed around with them there, for a day or so, and they're not quite as aggressive. But like I said, there's been a couple of them get bit, and when they get in the sleeping bag, I've asked that question: how in the world does something bad not happen in the sleeping bag? And their answer to me is that they do. They just kind of get together in there, and they not really that worried as long as there's not anything moving too quick.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've ever had anybody get bitten in the sleeping bag, but I'm not going to be the one to take that
makes me
chance.
throw up.
I would
me too.
no.
That's a sound. A rattlesnake's rattle
Oh, I can't
is a
stand
sound that, dude, you know it. When you
Yeah,
hear it.
absolutely.
There's nothing like it.
No.
And so Daryl, have you ever been to Big Buck Classic?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I got caught on news one time walking through there when I was about 8 years old, and I had just bought this like combat vest at some vendor there.
Yeah.
And I walked straight through the camera. I mean, 4 or 5 foot away. They might have been videoing somebody talking. I just cut them off, I guess. And it just side profile me walking by all combated out.
So funny.
I was like, man, it's a great time though. There's tons of stuff there.
There he is, and like I said, we transitioned. I don't know if transition's the right word on that, but when the expo center was a little different experience than the fairground. Because it was all in one building. I mean, it was just a big roar in there. And when we went to the fairgrounds, I think we've been there 14 years now. We were a little bit out of our element because we had gotten so, comfortable at the expo center. We knew exactly what we needed to do. Now we were dealing with multiple buildings, multiple gates, trying to get people in, making sure that we could handle it. And what we figured out is we messed that up the first year real good, to be honest with you, that we were trying to make sure that we could get people off of Roosevelt Road and into the fairgrounds where we didn't back traffic up so bad. And we didn't have our arms around that real good the first year. We just really screwed it. But what happened is we had the ability to keep what everybody loved, which is the big buck contest, the vendors, and then we had some other buildings that we could transition into having stuff for kids, and focus a little bit more on that.
On the youth.
Where we could get the youth to come out more than just, kind of us good old boys.
Well,
drink a little beer and go to the big buck.
If you can take your whole family to an event where every person in your family will see something there that they will enjoy.
Yep.
I mean, you can make a full trip out of it.
For sure.
Well, it really, like I said, it really kind of took another step then because all of a sudden, we're having the guys bring their wives and the wives are bringing the kids. And I mean, I can't tell you how many kids there are out there that are in strollers, and we've got a lot of attractions that we have out there, that the kids just love. And I mean, look, that's our future if we don't bring the kids along, because let's face it, our sport today is not what it used to be.
It's not.
It's not as in favor, politically as it used to be, and so we feel like it's real important that we involve those kids in that. And I'm going to tell you, I think there is a, I don't know what the percentage is that comes, but that aren't hunters at all.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
But once they get out there, I think that they see that, it isn't just a bunch of rednecks running around, fitting skull on the.
Yeah. I mean, this is put together well here.
But there's a lot of education that's involved in it now, and I feel like that we've been very fortunate that we've got a lot of good sponsorship behind us that allows us to keep the ticket prices down, and to where you can come have a good time, and there's perceived value in it. You can stay all day long. There's not a time limit. You can stay as long as you want. And last year, I guess you get older, you get a little bit more emotional about stuff sometimes, but they always want me to get up there and say something before we do the awards, and that's not really my wheelhouse. But I just looked out there and I thought, I think what I'm most thankful about is we've been doing this year will be 35 years.
Wow.
That's awesome.
We've
That is good.
never had a big problem within the crowd. No, there's not nobody's fighting, nobody's having, acting out. And I was just like, man, I just want to thank all y'all for just being good people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
thanks for being
just that everybody
you know,
can come out
outdoorsmen.
and have a good time. Nobody's, trying to stick their chest out and push somebody around and act stupid.
That's
and I
right.
mean, I just, I'm real happy about that.
Yeah, well, you got to think too. The Big Buck Classic attracts people that are outdoor driven, or they're, they just like wildlife, nature. So I
Right.
mean, it's a different kind of people.
That's right.
You're not just pulling people off a subway from New York, putting them
No.
all in a big area and just let them roam around. You might have problems then.
Right.
Yeah.
These are people like minded.
Yeah. And I mean, and they, like you said, I mean, there's 32 to 38,000 depending on the year and the weather.
Massive.
And we've just been, like I said, we've been real fortunate that everybody seems to enjoy what they're doing. I mean, there's a little stuff that you got to deal with, just like do at your shop, I mean, there's something going on behind the scenes that we're having to take care of.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, it goes pretty smooth.
That's good. That's good. There was there's one thing there I used to do every time I went, and it was in 2008 I did it, 2012 I did it, and then I did it again in like 2016. There was a lady set up there that draws a photo of your of a face, but it's their side profile.
Right.
And the first one I was on a four wheeler. The second one I was lifting weights, and the third one I was in a boat, and as a side profile. And on the third one, when I walked up to do it, she remembered me.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
She came for ever and ever and ever, and she ended up getting cancer and she passed away. But man, she had no telling how many pictures she drew.
That's
I mean,
horrible. She remembered drawing my face though from the side profile.
That's cool.
But that was cool.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It's a major event. So tell people if they don't know, because I know like the deer competition, big buck scoring competition there is a big deal. So like, for which division is it that you can only submit Arkansas killed deer?
Basically, I don't even like to call it a contest because you're not paying anything.
Right. It's
But
just
if you want to bring your deer and you want to enter the contest, well, that's
so let me ask you this: you wouldn't bring like a 115 8-point or nothing, would you?
yes, we want them all.
Hey, maybe we can get in.
Yeah,
there.
I can get in.
Maybe
Now.
we
I can get in now.
No, I'm with. Listen, everybody's harvest is their trophy. And there's a story behind every one of them.
100%.
I mean, we've got anyway. I'll not get off in the weeds again.
You're fine.
If you want to enter the Big Buck Classic, it's current season harvest up to the date of the show. So that's the deal. We got typical, we got non-typical, we got bow, crossbow, muzzleloader, all
Spear?
these different divisions. Got youth.
We're gonna put a spear in there
We're
this
going
year.
to have to talk about that. I
Hey,
mean,
I tell you one thing.
I want to. Yeah.
Hey, if I get a buck with a spear this year,
You
I'm
bring it.
bringing it no matter how big it is.
it can be like an 80-inch buck.
well, I mean, we've always followed whatever the regulatory, standards were. So I don't know why we're not going to.
got
It'd just be another,
Hey, it's
be
our
just
chance,
another
dude.
division. But you still compete overall. No matter,
Right.
you can win your category, but you still compete overall.
Right.
Now, where the controversy is at Big Buck, and it's there every single year, we deem the overall winner to be the deer that most exceeds Boone and Crockett minimums in its category. So typical, to make Boone and Crockett's 170, non-typical is 195.
Right.
So whichever one exceeds that,
The most.
like if it's 175 and you got a 191, then we're going to say the typical wins. Well,
I can see people.
oh my goodness.
I can see people being upset.
Every
with
year that happens. We're like, that deer's obviously bigger and blah, 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 and all this. We're not there to decide all that. The bottom line is that's what we came up with our stuff.
Because you have
It's
to
part of
you have to be black and white with the rules there, or
We do.
it gets out of hand.
Well, it does. And like I said, I mean, it happens every year, especially if the typical beats the non-typical. If the non-typical beats the typical, you don't ever hear too much about
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the way we feel like we cover that base is we have a county award. And the county award is based on the biggest deer that's brought to us from that county, and it's based on gross score. So that way, we feel like that
I got
we're
you.
helping you out a little bit on that. And the kids, I mean, it's under 16s, the youth division. You were talking about don't bring a 115.8, but man, they bring.
Yeah.
But what's so cool about it is we bring everybody that brings a deer across stage.
Yeah.
And so all the little kids get to come across the stage.
And that's all
And
they
I mean,
need.
their parents are out there
that's so
taking
cool,
their
though.
pictures. And I mean, of course, the kids are so honest,
Yeah.
you know, and they'll
Oh,
tell
yeah.
some funny stories. I mean, it's just awesome. So,
I guarantee it, getting a kid to interview and just be open about what happened, it's
Oh.
always a blast.
Yeah.
hearing
oh
it.
man, we had one little boy. We were still at the expo center, and Dave was doing the MCing back then. And Dave asked him, you know, you hunt with your dad? Yeah, I hunt with my dad. And he said, does he do pretty good this year? He said, well, I guess so. He killed 12.
I'll be like,
he's
get off there. Get off. I'll be like, get off there. Get off there.
Good stuff.
He's lying.
he's
Not even my
he
kid.
exaggerates a lot.
Yeah,
He's
we had some
dyslexic.
good moments. I'm telling you.
Oh man, I bet his dad's stomach dropped. Like,
Oh, don't you know?
get off stage. Get off stage.
That's actually hilarious.
It is. I can see.
I can see my kid doing that.
Absolutely.
Because
His little boy already, and he's what, 3,
2.
2?
Yeah.
He climbs up in his boat at the house, and he has his little push button fishing pole that he throws around the yard. Climbs up in the boat in his yard, steals the bait out of it, gets out, goes down there, rigs up his bait on his little fishing pole, and just goes out there and throws it around the yard
I love
At 2.
at
and
2 years
What
old.
does he say?
Huh?
Have you taught him what to say yet?
Oh, what do you mean?
With
Oh,
bait.
oh, yeah. He knows. He knows that.
Oh,
Fell from-
hey, he's good too. Let me tell you something. He's good with it.
That's good.
Yeah. And
He can throw that little push button pole.
You
Yeah.
got a little Zebco?
Oh
it's
yeah,
like one of those little, kiddie poles like this
Yeah.
long.
I love
he's
it.
ready.
He sits on the back
He's ready.
porch like all day, just, Daddy, we going fishing? I'm
That's
like,
great.
He wants
you're
to, he
almost
wants to
ready.
get bow hunting.
You're
now.
almost ready. Yeah, now he's like, he's been shooting bows, like getting ready.
That's
And he's
fun.
like, Daddy, where's mine? I'm like, well, I guess we're going to the store to get you one.
I
That's
mean,
fun.
2 years old. I think you pull 45.
I thought about too, I would have to tag it as my deer. I thought about getting him a crossbow.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because now they don't kick or anything. I
Right.
can put him in my lap.
Sure.
When deer walks out, it'd be fun for him.
Oh, it'd be great.
Like I help him squeeze the trigger. you
yeah,
know, and
absolutely.
He'll be hooked.
I feel like he's able to do it.
Oh yeah, I think he could.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
well advanced now. You gotta understand. Daryl's every day of the week he's fishing, hunting, or driving on his way to go hunting or fishing.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So
Well,
he-
hey, it keeps him out of trouble.
Yeah, he's kind of ate up with it. So
That's good. I
He's
like
He's a mini Daryl. He's a mini Daryl.
it.
So let me ask you this, because you're around a lot of people, a lot of kids and families. Do you see maybe the technology of the world, the modern world, affecting children getting into the outdoors?
Yes.
Maybe because they're not as patient, so technology kind of makes it even worse.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, I think we're all addicted to our phones and we want instant results.
Yeah,
Everybody
right,
wants
right, right.
instant results. And, as far as that's concerned, I'm old. I hate to admit it, but I'm old now. But, we didn't have all that to occupy our time up until what would you say, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah,
Something like
something
that.
Yeah,
And
Close.
so, you made your fun.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're either going and playing baseball with your buddies, or you're going fishing, or you're going out shooting your BB gun, shooting pigeons.
Oh,
whatever it was.
anything. Yeah.
You went and made your own entertainment. Well, now, I mean, we're all, victims of this society that we're living in with the telephones and all this stuff. And I think it's the technology. I mean, I'm sure in y'all's boats. I mean, everything has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's obviously, the game cameras have totally changed
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
the hunting part of it. I think in a good way, and I think in a little bit of a bad way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think the good part of it. Now, this is just personal opinion. It
Right.
ain't
Right.
not-
Right. Right.
I think the good part of it is that it has the results are it lets you know what's out there that you didn't
Yeah.
know what's out there,
Yeah.
and it'll make you sit on your stand longer and wait for that opportunity.
Right.
Back before we had that, I say something about 10 o'clock, I'm cold and I'm going home and
Yeah.
I'm going and
Yeah.
eat breakfast. I think the little bit of the downside of it is it's taken a lot of the element of surprise.
Oh,
The
yeah.
excitement of, oh my
Oh,
God,
right. I don't know what's out here. I can do
Yeah,
anything.
Exactly. So I think there's positives to it. I don't think there's a negative to it. I just think it takes a little bit of the excitement of, I'm out here. I don't really know what's out here. I've seen the rubs, I've seen the evidence, but I hadn't seen the picture.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's just personal.
That's the
opinion.
number one thing I love about going to public land I've never hunted
Mhm.
is you basically are going out there and you're hunting off of what you see, what you have seen so far,
Right.
and that's pretty much it. There's no scout report, So
Exactly.
it's always this could be the magic spot.
That's right.
It also makes you respect sometimes because you'll kill something else that you probably wouldn't have killed if you had cameras out the whole
Absolutely.
time. But you'd be like, my heart was beating so fast. You
That's
shoot the
right.
deer and you're like, I actually kind of like this deer.
Because
more
it's
than-
about the experience.
Yeah,
you know?
That's exactly right.
that 120-inch deer walks in, you're like, dude, this was like
That's
you
right.
didn't know. That's good. Like it was successful.
Yep, I
Yeah.
agree.
And I feel like that's me. I'm kind of like an old school, new
Yeah.
school hunter in the mix.
Yeah, I'm kind
Like
of
I run cameras, but I don't like really like pay attention to them. Like I grew up like, so me growing up, my grandpa, like we didn't even hardly put corn. I've told you this before.
Yeah.
Like, the couple of days before you just sit on a bucket and if it comes by, you
Exactly
better shoot
right.
it. So like, I grew up like the excitement was, I didn't care what it was.
Sure.
It was excitement. So now it's like, I still kind of like, wait, like I see a deer, I'm still like, oh, I'm a little bit more blessed now. Like I see a lot of deer all the time, but
Back then, it was just like that moment when one came out,
Oh,
you knew,
dude.
like, hey, this is the one.
That's
Dude,
right.
I remember when I first shot a spike, like,
I'll
dude,
be honest
I
with
was
you.
so happy.
I've shot more spike than I've killed deer since I turned like 14 to now. In that like 6 years old to like, 12 range. If it was a spike, son.
But you were happy though.
Going
I was
down.
getting them. I was getting them spikes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean,
it's-
I just couldn't
But it's
help
fun though.
it. It was.
You're just happy to see something with horns.
And you appreciate it now, like
Yeah.
when you do see a good deer and like you are successful, it's like all that led to this.
That's right. Well, I mean, there's no doubt the game management thing has proven, to have results.
Yeah.
Let them go and let them grow.
That's right.
And keeping the herd as far as the ratio, to where you get the buck doe ratio down to where, the genetics are going to come into play. But there's no doubt that works. But like I said, you just can't beat carrying your little boy or little girl out there and sitting there and the first time, the deer walk out and the experience of the whole thing. I mean, if you hadn't witnessed that, it's something to see. So,
Oh yeah, it is.
I think it's good stuff,
It is. And so tell us real quick before we wrap this thing up. We've
Okay.
gone over quite a bit. What is there to be looking out for in upcoming events that y'all have going on?
Well, we're always trying to have something new, and exciting. I will say that the days of us being able to find the live animal exhibitions is getting harder. I mean,
Really?
Yep. Well, it's just the world we're living in, and we've had everything from the bear to the live deer to rattlesnakes to, I'm trying to think, lion cubs. I mean, we've had all of
What's
that.
making that get harder?
PETA.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
Makes
lay it
sense.
out there.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it is.
And so, we've still got some attractions. So I'm not going to give away what we're going to have this year yet.
Something big though.
But
huh?
we're going to work on something that'd be really a wow factor. I mean, it's going to be our 35th year. So
Yeah, it's gotta be big. It's gotta be big.
And
Oh, yeah.
we got our staples. I mean,
We're gonna have to be there.
I don't
Yeah.
know, we've had the rattlesnakes for 30 years. And I believe that if we didn't have them, that it would be such a disappointment to everybody, even though they've seen them,
Yeah.
I don't know how many times.
Yeah,
It's
several
just that
times.
they're
I
just
still-
mesmerized. So we're going to continue to have good attractions. We're going to feel like that we give you a value. And, of course, I always fall back on something that's kind of easy to say, well, we got a new attraction every year because that deer wall back there is going to be different.
Yeah.
It's always
different.
Yeah,
Something new every year.
We'll know if they bring the same,
Yeah, same deer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, tell them where they can find any current information.
You can go to bigbuckclassic.com as our website, and then Arkansas Big Buck Classic Facebook is where we do a lot of posting pictures, of the harvest that's coming up. But any and everything you want to know about is right there. And got any questions, just send us a message there on our Facebook page or give us a ring. Our telephone number's on there.
I think it's really cool though. Like real quick, I don't have time, but I always get on Facebook during hunt season. And that
Yeah.
pops up, and like as soon as somebody submits a deer and it's like there, I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's motivation.
It's like all right.
It's motivation.
I knew I should have went today. I
Yeah,
knew it.
yeah.
You see, like sometimes you be like 3 or 4 people they post like 3 or 4 big deer. I'm like, I knew I should have went this morning.
I should have went this
should've
morning.
went. What was I thinking?
Golly, I knew
What
it was gonna be good.
thinking? You know,
It
the
is.
other thing that's really cool. I love that y'all do that. Like y'all post everybody's deer
Yeah.
up all season. I think
That's really grown. I was just talking about it earlier before we got on the air. I mean, I think we posted almost 3,000 pictures last
That's
year.
amazing.
it's
It's
amazing.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people love it. You know, they get shared a lot.
Yeah.
Like, every time I see a kid on there with a good deer, I'm like, that's pretty cool.
I'm like,
Yeah.
where's that kid hunting at?
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to go over there. He's got it going on.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you for coming.
Oh,
today.
thank you for having me. I'm
Absolute blast.
glad that you had
I
me.
think me and Daryl might swing by there on this next one and
Yeah.
check it out. If you don't have the rattlesnakes, if that's not what you have, I'm ready to see what you're gonna come out with next.
Well, we're going to try to have something really exciting and good. And like I said, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you got anything else, Daryl? You like
No.
to add to this?
No, I don't have anything else to add. We might be pulling up with something cool though.
Oh yeah. Hey, hopefully we get us a spear kill. We're
Yeah,
number one.
number
We'll be
one.
1 and 2 in the spear
That would be
division.
exciting if
Yeah.
y'all would come up there with the spear kill. That'd be good.
Yeah, I just wear it on my back. Probably be a safety. I'll take the tip off. I just, you know,
Yeah.
make it
Have you a
safe.
buffalo cape on?
That's right. Like coonskin hat.
Who are
or
these
something.
guys?
That's great.
All war painted up. Oh, hey, don't put it past us. We might
I'll
do
do
it.
I'll do it. Especially I got a big deer I know I'm finna win too. Like a 150 with a spear.
Dude, you got to
Just walk
walk
up there like that with a cape on.
Well, y'all got to stay tuned to see that one. It's going to be on the next one, I promise you. But anyways, everybody leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Check out the gear shop. Got new merch, new hats. And if you want to see more information about the Big Buck Classic, go to their website and check it out. Get the family out. It's going to be a great time. Anyways, we'll catch you on the next one.